Never argue, never defend, never explain, when silence becomes your power. Stoicism. Intro: the power people don't expect. There is a moment in life every man eventually faces. Someone challenges him. Someone insults him. Someone questions his value. And in that moment, most people react instantly. They argue. They defend themselves. They try to explain. They believe that if they don't respond immediately, they will appear weak. But Stoic philosophy teaches something completely different. Sometimes the strongest move is silence. Not because you are afraid. Not because you are defeated. But because you understand something most people never learn. You don't need to prove your value to anyone. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Think about that. He didn't say argue. He didn't say defend yourself. He said be the man. And that is the principle we're going to explore today. In this video, you will discover why the most powerful men throughout history mastered one simple rule. Never argue. Never defend. Never explain. Because the moment you truly understand this Stoic principle, your life changes. Your confidence changes. And the way people treat you changes. Part 1. Why arguments make you weaker. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Most arguments are useless. Not just unproductive. Useless. People rarely argue to discover truth. They argue to win. And when two people are trying to win, nobody is actually listening. One person speaks. The other waits for their turn to respond. Then the cycle repeats. But here's what the Stoics understood thousands of years ago. When you argue, you give the other person control over your emotions. The moment you feel the need to prove yourself, you have already surrendered your power. Epictetus explained it clearly. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. In simple terms, people can only control you if you allow them to. And arguments are one of the easiest ways for someone to control you. Because when emotions take over, logic disappears. Calm disappears. Dignity disappears. And suddenly you find yourself explaining things to someone who never intended to understand you in the first place. That's why strong men choose a different path. They don't argue with fools. They don't waste energy proving themselves. They remain calm. And silence becomes their shield. Part 2. Why explaining yourself destroys respect. Let's talk about something many people struggle with. The need to explain themselves. Someone misunderstands you. Someone accuses you of something. Someone questions your intentions. And immediately the urge appears. I need to explain. I need to clarify. I need to prove them wrong. But here is a brutal truth most people learn too late. The more you explain yourself, the less respect people give you. Why? Because constant explanations signal insecurity. When you constantly justify your actions, people begin to believe you are seeking their approval. And once people sense that, they start testing you. They challenge you more. They criticize you more. Because they know you will react. But Stoic men operate differently. They understand something simple. Not everyone deserves an explanation. And not every misunderstanding needs correction. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let people believe whatever they want. Because your actions will always speak louder than your explanations. Part 3. The Stoic Secret of Silence. Silence is often misunderstood. People think silence means weakness. They think silence means surrender. But true silence is not passive. It is controlled, intentional, strategic. Think about the most confident person you know. Do they talk constantly? Do they defend themselves in every conversation? Do they react to every criticism? No. They remain calm. They observe. They speak only when necessary. This is exactly what Stoicism teaches. Marcus Aurelius ruled the Roman Empire. He had power over millions of people. Yet, in his private writings, he constantly reminded himself, you always have the option of having no opinion. Imagine how powerful that mindset is. You don't need to react to every comment. You don't need to correct every person. You don't need to win every argument. Because once you understand your own value, you stop trying to prove it. Part 4. Why silence confuses your enemies. Here is something fascinating about human psychology. People expect reactions. When someone insults you, they expect anger. When someone criticizes you, they expect defense. When someone provokes you, they expect an argument. But when none of those things happen, they become uncomfortable. Your silence disrupts their expectations. Suddenly they start questioning themselves. Why didn't he react? Did my words even affect him? Did I misjudge him? And this is where your real power appears. Because calm silence sends a message without saying a single word. It says, I am not controlled by your opinion. I do not need your approval. I will not lower myself to your level. And that message is far more powerful than any argument. Part 5. When silence becomes true strength. Silence is not about avoiding confrontation. It is about choosing where your energy goes. A Stoic man understands that energy is one of the most valuable resources in life. Every argument drains it. Every unnecessary explanation drains it. Every emotional reaction drains it. And over time, those small drains become massive losses. But when you learn to stay silent in the right moments, your energy stays intact. Your focus remains clear. Your mind remains calm. And people begin to notice something about you. You are different. You are harder to provoke. Harder to manipulate. Harder to control. And that is exactly what Stoic philosophy was designed to achieve. Inner strength. Unshakable calm. A mind that remains steady no matter what chaos surrounds it. Part 6. The moment you stop caring about proving yourself. There comes a moment in every man's journey when something shifts. He stops chasing validation. He stops explaining himself. He stops arguing with people who refuse to understand. And in that moment, freedom appears. Because most stress in life comes from trying to control how others see you. But Stoics knew something powerful. You cannot control other people's opinions. You can only control your actions. Once you accept this truth, something remarkable happens. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop wasting time on meaningless conflicts. And instead of defending your reputation, you build a life that speaks for itself. Part 7. What truly powerful men understand. Look throughout history. The strongest leaders were not the loudest people in the room. They were often the calmest. They listened more than they spoke. They observed more than they reacted. And when they finally spoke, people listened. Because their words carried weight. That is the difference between noise and authority. Anyone can talk. Anyone can argue. Anyone can defend themselves endlessly. But very few people have the discipline to remain silent. And that discipline creates a presence that commands respect without demanding it. Outro, the Stoic rule for life. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this Stoic rule. You don't need to argue. You don't need to defend. You don't need to explain. Let your actions speak. Let your character speak. Let your life speak. Because real power is not loud. Real power is calm. Real power is controlled. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all.